Pileggi Technical Services, your computers and electronics concierge service.
Welcome back. Well, as you can tell by the title of the video, we're getting a little bit nostalgic here tonight. I've gotten to a video game kick lately and started playing a lot of the older games that I've had lying around, and started poking and prodding deeper and deeper, and found some Windows 95 games that I've had that I've wanted to play, and some old DOS games. And well, I have DOSBox and I played with that a lot, but I said I gotta have a copy of Windows 95 around. Haha. I also found at some point I put Windows 3.1 on a CD. So I started thinking to myself, what if I put this in the computer? Now, I haven't played in Windows 3.1 in such a long time. Now, if you don't know what DOSBox is, it's basically exactly what it sounds like. It's DOS in a box. It's a virtual machine that runs a pretty good copy of DOS. It's got what it needs to run. It's by no means the full version, the DOS 7.1 like I have here. It's just your basic DOS, and it works well. If you haven't used it and you need to play an old DOS game like Quake, then you're gonna need something like that. It's very easy to use once you figured it out. I'm not gonna get into the whole thing of it here. I may have a separate video with that. I want to get some video capture software, so again, forgive the camera facing the monitor here, but you can see that there's 3 drives being mounted here. You're basically telling the computer which drive, which folder is going to be which drive. It's not one for one. The C drive here isn't the C drive on my computer, so that way I can be safe. I have one set up just for DOS. One thing to note, if you know anything about this computer, if you watch my prior videos, you know that there is a RAM disk on here, which is basically a hard drive running virtually in memory. It's very fast, so I do have a DOS folder mounted on there. That's actually where we're going to be putting this Windows 3.1 installation, because why not? You don't have to worry about the constraints of a hard drive. I have memory, and the other drive's an SSD. The only thing here that's a mechanical drive of sorts is the E drive, which is the actual DVD drive of my computer. So that's going to be the difference between this video, installing on this computer and an older computer. There's no floppy drive. We're going off a CD-ROM. We're going to a modern system. Only difference here is DOSBox is emulating DOS, so we're not using my complete processor power. We're only using like a Pentium equivalent. That way, the clock's not overly fast, and we're not going to crash the program here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the CD-ROM in this computer, and we're going to give this thing a shot. I do have to go into the E drive and pull up the directory here. As soon as it reads, this is going to be probably the slowest part, is the reading of the CD. Jump cut. Alright, there's only 2 files here, setup.exe and setup.ini, so we're going to go with setup. Just type that and enter. Now, this is the same as pretty much all Windows installations. Very straightforward. It's just going to hit enter on here. We want the Express. Actually, the Express is going to put this on the regular C drive and not the RAM disk, which is fine. I already have stuff on that folder anyway. The copying files will be the slowest part, because we're going from the optical drive. I remember this taking so long. It was quite a few floppies, if I remember correctly. gonna put our name in here. Oop. Trying to do this through a viewfinder. That's good enough. It's amazing how fast we're into a Windows environment. Now we're just going to cancel the printer installation for now. We'll just exit Windows Setup. We'll come into this skip tutorial. That's what I want. Let's reboot. Now rebooting is just basically the computer just shutting down the DOSBox program. So we're going to go here and open DOSBox. DOSBox is actually an app running on Windows 10. You can also get in the regular program version for other versions of Windows. So now I should be able to go to my C drive. And this is how you did it back in the day. You went to your C drive, and then you went to Windows. Let's see if it's there. Yep, there's the Windows folder, so you can go to actually we want CD / Windows, and then we can type in Win. Yeah, this is it. This is all you have. This was all Windows was. It's funny running this on a Windows 10 machine. You can see we can go into File Manager. Oh boy. These are all the games and stuff I have in here. I do have a folder. Let's see if I can actually find it here. There's a bunch of classic games. Rampage and Duke Nukem 3D, all these fun games. I can't seem to find the folder that I have here. Here's the Quake installation. Quake runs in Windows 95 though. That's what we're ultimately trying to get to. So I'm not going to spend too much time on Windows 3.1 here. I had a game pack CD. I'll have to find where it is. Which of course I'll use the Windows 10 installation to do, because it's much easier to use that operating system, obviously, because I'm much more familiar with that now than this. But this is good old File Manager. You can multitask. It's just when you go full screen, it just takes away everything. You don't have a start menu and all that. Control panel is really basic. This was a pretty fun system to learn how to use at first. I'm glad we are where we are today, though, that's for sure. So let me see if I can go find that installation system. Oh, look, it's the first Solitaire. How many hours have I wasted playing this game as a kid? Good old classic Solitaire, and then Minesweeper, everyone's other favorite game. Let's see if I can find that installation CD. Okay, I'm back. I found it. I just had it on another drive. So what it is the Windows Entertainment Pack, which is of course the classic free cell game, which of course probably won't work. Oh, pegged. Yeah. Some of these, oh, Klotsky. Some of these of course won't work. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and play these. But you get the idea. It's funny that this still works, some of these. It's tanks. Oh, look, Christmas tanks. Huh. It's a classic old game. This is a game based on tanks, and you have to aim your tank against your player and try to just annihilate each other. It's a physics-based game where you kind of, I wouldn't say physics actually, the hill will slowly explode. Let's get out of here. Monopoly, yeah, there's a bunch of games. So now the question is can we put Windows 95 on top of this? So I'll put the Windows 95 disk in here now and try that out. Hopefully we can. This one, of course, should take a little longer to install. Not sure if it'll auto run or not. Huh. Setup. Hey, look at this. Unfortunately, I cannot put Windows 95 onto this Windows 3.1 installation that I have running here through DOSBox. Not sure why. I did some playing around actually from the last segment to this segment. It's been a couple days of playing around with this just in my free time, and I couldn't get it to go. I thought maybe it had something to do with the file system I was using. I was using FAT32. Surprisingly, Windows 3.1 had no problem installing into that. Windows 95 is having an issue during ScanDisk. I'm not sure why. I did try update disk that I had, try to upgrade Windows 3.1 to 95. That didn't work. I also tried downloading a completely new ISO file that had, you know, the complete install version from scratch kind of thing, not an update. Didn't work. Tried a couple things. Had a heck of a time trying to get it to do anything beyond what I had it do. So I started farting around a little bit, and I figured out, you know what, there's other ways to do that, and it's using, you know, virtualware and, you know, some kind of Oracle like VirtualBox or something like that. And yeah, so I spent some time playing around with that, and I got a Windows 95 machine running, and that'll have to turn into a whole nother completely other video now, because that's a whole different piece of software to use and whatnot. So this video is basically going to just be an introduction to this whole concept. It is a little bit of nostalgia, just trying to run Windows 3.1 on a newer machine. But you know what? After playing with it and seeing some of the little things you had to do to get it to work, even DOS to get some things to work, it was kind of a pain in the neck. And for somebody who doesn't really remember a lot of the stuff, because it was years ago that I last used it, you can see how that could be kind of annoying. I remember setting up all the commands, you know, setting up the autoexec.bat and config sys files, and, you know, the mouse.com command and micedex, all those different commands, and just getting DOS 6.22 set up on the virtual machine alone instead of trying to use DOSBox was a pain in the neck. But ultimately I got it. Now I'm finding out through trying to play with some other vintage games like SimCity 4. Basically, you're not going to have a good time doing that. Turns out there's a function of these computers here that allows you to play certain games with that whole DRM thing going on. So you can go out, buy a game, get the code, put the code in, play the game, have no problems. Unfortunately, the system that is being used for those codes has been disabled by Windows in Windows 10. Therefore, all the games that I own that have that security system check, whatever you want to call it, is going to not work now, which is really frustrating. So now I have to try to figure out a way to set up some kind of a Windows 7 virtual machine, or just take one of my other machines here and set it up as a gaming computer for vintage games, which kind of defeats the purpose of having, you know, a good computer to run all this stuff. It's very frustrating. But, you know, there's ways around it. You can do patches, among other kinds of updates, but some of those things break parts of the game or open up loopholes in your computer. You know, it's really not worth it. Ultimately, for SimCity 4, the specific example I'm talking about, I can go on a website and either purchase the online version of the game, which is just a downloadable file I can install on my computer. It won't need the CD, and that's the problem, is the CD check. Or I can actually write somebody at Origin and tell them to the story, and supposedly they'll give me a free copy of the game somehow. I've heard that a lot of people say that they're successful in doing that. Either way, it's a little bit of a hassle, and honestly, maybe had I would have known that, I might not have gone to Windows 10 right away. There is a lot of vintage things that I like to play with that I really would like to have work. And well, speaking of that, I actually went ahead and put the Windows 95 disk in here, and on the Windows 10 part of the system here, was playing around with the Hover program, and it actually worked. So there are actually older 32-bit programs that will work no problem with Windows 10, especially in a 64-bit system. It's just you can't get anything 16-bit to work. It's just completely obsolete, which I totally get. But the handful of games that I have here that I can't run now because of that one security system is kind of a bummer. But with that being said, stay tuned for some videos where hopefully I'll have some video capture software, and I'll show you how to set this up a little bit better. With that being said, thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more.